You guys showed on social media the area with the helmets for all the high school state champions. I know that was your idea specifically. How did you come up with that, and why was that important to you?
Well, I guess part of the idea was when I was coaching at Wisconsin Whitewater, at Lambeau Field, they have a big atrium area that the Coaches Association is in the state of Wisconsin is a very strong organization. They've given a lot of recognition for different things in that area, and they've kind of made it multi-use. I thought we could kind of copy that in some form, and really, again, as we've talked about since our arrival, that recruiting the state and recognizing the efforts of the high school programs, the high school coaches, and all those things were going to be important to us. And I thought it was a way that we could try to recognize them in the stadium. I think ultimately, nothing against anything in the past or anything, but hoping that when the stadium is complete, that the possibility of state championships and things being played here is something I've talked with Coach Kleiman at K-State about, even tossing the idea of alternating the site for the championship between the two universities. I think the state championship should be played in the FBS, not against Pitt State or any of the other locations, but I think it's a great exposure, a great experience for young men, and all these things can tie together down the road. Possibly my idea was whichever site the KU, K-State game would be played, the other school would host that year and try to formulate it that way. But we don't play the last weekend there. I know there'd be scheduling things there, but again, all those things about the future use of this stadium and other things that we can do, but of course, recognizing and showing our appreciation to the high schools here.
How do you think the teams responded these last couple of days to having pads on?
Again, they're flying around and working. Today was a good weather day for us break-wise. I thought we had a little more to us than maybe the last few when it was pretty hot, pretty humid. I thought yesterday was a little bit cooler than I was told. It was the most humid day that we had yet. So, it's taken its toll. Our guys have worked through it. We've increased our breaks and that, but, they're willing. I really like the way this team is responding. They've taken coaching well and understand that we have a lot of work to do, but I'm happy with where it's at.
And then I don't think we've asked about special teams much recently. Just wondering how those units are coming along. So
again, we're continue to get a lot of work in there. I still have some competition, especially at the punt return situation. I know that's probably one that you're asking about. We'll continue to make decisions as we work through. Not ready to name anyone there. And then Henderson's probably been the guy taking the most in the kick return area. But again, we feel better there's options there. There's no doubt, and want to continue to evaluate.
Coach, is it too early to mention some names, some guys who have stood out both in the offseason and now the practices?
Oh yeah, there's the way I get, as soon as I start talking about a few, I forget about somebody. So, but there's again the experienced guys of I thought Jalen's very focused right now, to the point where he's on a regular basis, first guy in the building. I mentioned Emmanuel. I think Cam Pickett's been very, very consistent and has shown things. Like the way our defensive line has continued to play. I like, Lyric Rawls is a guy who's shown great maturity and leadership in our defense. Leroy Harris is a guy that continues to show up on a daily basis and getting better at the defensive end spot. Justice Finkley, he's got a great motor, and he's like a pro on how he goes about things, and he's a great example for our program and great energy. Dean Miller continues to play at a high pace and do things. So I like where it's trending, but as I said earlier, we got to continue to be consistent. I thought today was one of those days where 2-minute drill and team pass and backed up drill, our defense was probably more dominant, and in our team run area, I thought our offense had a good session. So being consistent throughout a practice and being consistent is something we need to continue to strive for.
You mentioned Leroy there, but behind Justice and Dean, who are some of the guys that have
Dak
stepped up so
Brinkley,
far?
Dak Brinkley's still in that group, and I mentioned Leroy, and there'll be some guys in there that we're rotating. Who else am I forgetting in there? As I continue to kind of look through our guys, as I say, there'll be somebody I'll forget in there. Dylan Brooks and Alex Bray's probably a guy that I forgot. That's probably what you should just ask me how Alex Bray was doing. I'd have been better because Alex transferred from Illinois, wanted a pure opportunity to play defensive end. We've given him that. He's very workmanlike as well. Kind of gives us another version of what Dylan Woodkey did last year, but probably just slightly different players. So feel good about where we'll be, 5, 6 guys to rotate at defensive end, and probably the same interior if we can stay healthy.
It's your 5th camp leading KU. Does this camp feel different in any way compared to past ones?
Yes, I would say that, and part of it was, I thought with as many newcomers that we have, like 50 new scholarships, I thought we'd have a lot more transitional type things like we did in the first couple of years, and we really haven't, and that's a credit to the players, our leadership within the locker room, our strength and conditioning staff, and our assistant coaches, that our guys are in a pretty good routine. And I think with some of the evolving rules, that our time with our players helps kind of build this consistency and routines within our days. But I'm really pleased that way, and same thing with new coordinators. I think again we tweak as we move along, but we still believe fundamentally in how we go about our practices and what we're striving for. So that part I don't think is. I think the one that we tried not to make it an issue last year. What I really liked is the continuity about where we're practicing and our daily routines of what we're doing. It's really helped us.
And we've seen Bryce out there at practice. What's he able to do right now? And
He's doing
where is
some
he at?
indie drills. He's taking a couple one-on-one reps and some things. He's doing it. Probably, from the initial part, I wasn't expecting anything for probably another week. So I really haven't pressed Trent and our training staff for, hey, when's he going to be out there? We're in a really good spot with him, and want to make sure that he's ready to go. And especially when you're in an interior offensive lineman, that's where your pile-ups and things going. We don't want any setbacks.
Speaking of the offensive line, obviously a lot of competition in that room. Has the competition changed ever since pads have gotten on?
I don't think so. I think again, it's a matter of consistency with some guys. There's Nolan Gorska and Enrique Cruz continue to battle it out at the guard spot. Jack Tanner's playing both left and right. I'm happy where that's at. James Livingston is showing some good signs of maturity and confidence, where he's being more vocal, and I can really proud of him where it's at. Amir Herring has had to jump in and play some center as well as guard, and again has shown physicality, and Tavaka has been one that, again, he's obviously was unfortunate that he missed so much of spring last year, but he's in better shape, he's moving well, and he's a big man. So again, when we have a chance to put some pretty big fellas out there, and I forgot who it was. Somebody came, it might have been a scout or somebody that came through and watched the practice and talked about how much different our line looks and some of the things in our program.
And the NFL preseason starting tonight. Luke, I know he's on the Chargers. Just talk about the opportunity that a lot of those guys have to show what they have in the preseason.
Yeah, I sent him a text this morning. I haven't heard back from him, so hopefully we'll see how things are going. Wishing him the best. We're awful proud of him. For guys like that to get an opportunity is great. As we know, he's an extreme competitor, and he won't shy away from any opportunity he has. So it'll be great for him and all our guys that are playing right now.
Lance, you mentioned Cam Pickett. What have you seen from him?
You know, exactly, you know, kind of everything that we had hoped for and saw on film and heard. You know, he's deceptively fast, he's got excellent hands, he plays well in the slot, finds a way to get open. He can, you know, he can run the fly sweeps and do different things. He's a versatile receiver that we can line up in a lot of different plays. And again, we're pretty multiple already in everything that we're doing, movements and shifts and everything. And he has taken all that and handled it really, really well. And, you know, probably catching the ball as consistently as anybody that we have right now.
I know the hope is probably to get in and practice in the stadium soon. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, we sure are. I think our guys already can kind of see it, you know, outside my office window, I kind of see those, when they're, you got all those bags of sand and rubber and that, and I kind of see them all disappear and know that we're getting close. I know lots of fire alarm testing, a lot of things going on to get approved of what it's in, hoping to get the word that we can get in here soon, and I know our guys will be excited for it.
I haven't seen Bryson Canty or Jaden Nickens in practice.
Yeah,
What's their
you know,
status?
well, they're there, they're just not participating, and you know, Bryson's been slow with a leg, and hopefully, you know, it could be another week, but I think, you know, nothing that's going to be prolonged past where it's at, and it's been unfortunate, especially just getting here this summer. Jay Nickens had a non-football related incident injury that he's getting closer to returning to action as well, but I expect them both to be out, you know, here sometime during camp.
And we talked to Coach Simpson about the linebackers yesterday. I know in the spring you talked about the athleticism, but how have you seen that unit kind of come together at the start of camp?
Well, again, there's really good competition there, and guys have, you know, different sets of skills and things, but you can see them being more comfortable, understanding checks, understanding formations better, seeing things and executing things that Coach Simpson, Coach McDonald want to see happen. And again, it can be a, you know, I think we'll have a little more depth than maybe years past, where guys could rotate if needed. And again, where you really want that to also be a big boost to the program is in your special teams, where you can play some and play more starters, because there's more rotational guys in there as well.
Lance, what have you seen from Cole and Isaiah as they
You know, both have played really well. Again, their maturity and understanding of the situation, their roles and where it's at, but their competitive natures to get better all the time. It has been great. Leadership in the huddle, variance of snap counts, things like that. The small details that when you see a player become more confident and understanding of the situation, you see them do some more little things. I think both of them have done it. I think we have three quarterbacks, really all our quarterbacks can operate our offense to its fullest of you know, within the option game and anything else that we're asking the quarterbacks to do in the run game. So and again, I think Isaiah and Cole both have had good camps to date.
Coach, last year we went over to the soccer field with you, and the team got to work out, and everybody talked so much about what a stadium could mean to a team and would it affect you playing over there. Well, I'm going to ask you the same question. What can this stadium mean to this group, and how might that affect you?
Well, it'll mean a lot to this group, just based on, you know, one, it's a sign of confidence and commitment to the program that can filter through your locker room as well, based on investment. I think when you're in there, you're going to see that the design is going to be one that's going to have great sightlines, but also be able to kind of keep the energy and volume in the stadium when it's fully completed. I think all those things are going to be, you know, any of the older stadiums that had and had the same thing at my last job with a track around it, or a track that's been removed a distance away, and now it's not going to be that way, and it's going to have that intimate feeling. It's going to be exciting. It's going to help in recruiting, but really what we need it to be is, you know, we need to be one of those situations where it's a place to be on Saturdays and when we're playing, so that we are able to create a tough place to come play and an environment that is beneficial to the home team.
Harry Stewart was not in the non-contact jersey today. Just now that he's less limited, I guess, what do you want to see from him in fall camp?
Well, again, to progress to be 100% full speed, it's probably, again, anytime a guy has something in a lower extremity with a brace on or something, it takes a while to get used to and to feel like he can run full speed in that. But Harry's continued to work hard. He's done everything that they've asked. He's, again, I think that's another bigger back that gives us a power runner, but also has deceptive speed. And Johnny Thompson's probably one of those guys that I probably didn't, mention as well. I've talked about the other two guys. Johnny's had a really nice camp. He's worked extremely hard to give himself an opportunity, and it'll be a good battle between him and Harry for that third spot.
Anything else for Coach Leipold? All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.